background, you hear that it's raining, so it's kind of like a nice tone, I guess, for talking about movies. To be relaxed, to enjoy yourself, and it's nice. It's raining right now, so I don't know. It gives it a nice atmospheric tone, I guess, for the movie that I guess we're talking about. And yes, yesterday I did me a double feature, one at the cinema and the other when I came back home. So let's talk about the first one, where I got to see for the first time in theaters. And that movie that we're talking about is the film Rear Window. Rear Window is a mystery thriller about a photographer in a wheelchair who spies on his neighbor from his Greenwich Village courtyard apartment window and becomes convinced that one of them has committed murder, despite the skepticism of his fashion model girlfriend. The film's runtime is 112 minutes. The rating is PG in Technicolor. I'm going to say Technicolor because that's what it said in the beginning of the film. And of course, the film's directed by the legendary Alfred Hitchcock, known for the films Rebecca, Strangers on a Train, and Dial M for Murder. So yes, Rear Window. Yesterday I got the pleasure, my phone almost slipped. Got the pleasure of watching Rear Window in theaters for the first time. I've actually never seen Rear Window. Actually, in fact, I've only seen, I think, one Hitchcock movie in my day, and that movie was Rope. And I saw that with my aunt, and that movie was awesome. But yeah, this is what some consider his masterpiece. It's this, of course, Psycho. Hitchcock is one of the most legendary known actors. You don't need to know movies to know the name Alfred Hitchcock. He's the master of suspense. He's fantastic on suspense, and I see why. This movie is amazing. I think Rear Window is an amazing film, and it's such a well-directed film, and it's the tone and just how the camera shifts is really good. It's such a fantastic made film. I think it's a movie that people should see. And if you love films, if you love filmmaking, it's a movie that absolutely is a must-watch. But yeah, the performances, I think everybody that's in this movie did a fantastic job. Of course, you got the main character played by Jimmy Stewart, who is this photographer who's injured. He's been home for 6 weeks, and he finds interest in watching his neighbors, which, some people say, oh, that's kind of, that's pretty bad. It's not good to spy on your neighbors, but he does it of just pure boredom at one point. He gets fond of like a girl that he sees as well, a ballet dancer, and he suspects that there's been a murder. And he and his fashion girlfriend, which she at first was kind of like suspectable, but then he's like, all right, we gotta you look at the details. And Jimmy Stewart is amazing in this movie. He's a fantastic. He is a sarcastic, grumpy man, but he's also just a really, likable, because this kind of character is kind of difficult to portray. Kind of a Peking Tom kind of character. It's kind of difficult to portray that character and not come off as a fucking weirdo. But Jimmy Stewart, I don't know what it is. He has just this facade of just like, he's just a really likable character, but kind of a dick. But in his pure boredom, he looks at his neighbors. He just looks, and he kind of like, sometimes kind of like, but still looks. And you kind of feel a little weird with that, but Jimmy Stewart, for some reason, plays it beautifully, and I think he's fantastic in this movie. I don't say this much about actors, but he's just super sensational. He's amazing in this movie. You also got his fashion girlfriend, who, she's really good. First off, she's just a gorgeous woman for the 50s, and she's the fashion girlfriend who's perfect in every way, of course, in the eyes of Stewart. But she wants to be with him, loves him, always wants to be around him, kisses him, just loves him. But he's a little grumpy. He's like, oh, you're perfect, but I don't think you're the one for me. But he has care for his girlfriend, 100%. And I love the character. She's fantastic. She's really good. And you really love, I guess, them together and their conversations about life and just how it's just fantastic, the film and their chemistry. My favorite character has to be, without a doubt, the nurse. The nurse is hilarious. She, of course, it just helps Jimmy Stewart with his body, because he's aching, and he's been in his wheelchair for 6 weeks, and she helps him. She helps him with things, and yeah, she kind of like, okay, it's kind of weird, but Peeping Tom, what they do to Peeping Toms back in the day, but she helps him when she also suspects that there's something going on. And she's amazing. She's so hilarious in this movie. I loved her. She's fantastic, and she's amazing. She's one of my favorite characters in this film. And you also got the guy, the man who's suspected of doing the murder. Of course, Jimmy Stewart sees him walking out at night, 3 a.m. He gets, a little suspicious. Okay, what kind of man at 3 in the morning comes home, comes back? It's kind of weird, and suspects the murder. And I think the guy itself was super intimidating in a way. He's like, I don't know, his statue and just everything, especially when, I don't want to get into it. I mean, it's an old ass movie, but in specific scenes, you're like super tense. It's super thrilling. That's what just Hitchcock is known for in a way. And yeah, I thought the guy who's suspected for a murder is really freaking amazing and super threatening and very I don't know. I just felt him very threatening. And everybody in this movie is great. The guy who helps him do the detective work, he's fantastic too. All the performances are amazing. The direction by Hitchcock is amazing. How the camera moves with the point of view of Stewart is just fantastic. How he does just the camera movements is just amazing. The writing though is just amazing. The dialogue and it's super witty. I just love the dialogue for this film. It's very well written and just very very intense when it gets there and super thrilling towards like the final act of the film. I thought but also the dialogue is amazing. Chemistry, everybody works amazing together. Everybody, the girlfriend and the boy and Stewart, just amazing, and the nurse, all of them just work very well together. The director of photography, the cinematography, again, I love how he does the camera movements with the point of view of Stewart, and just he like it's like Hitchcock is kind of leading the viewer to the movie and really just like playing with the viewer and letting them see things, and you're like, okay, that's kind of weird, and you're kind of suspecting in your own mind. And I just thought cinematography is amazing, the music is great too, the sound design is fantastic. You literally feel like you're just in this neighborhood. Just the music, the piano, the guy who plays the piano, and all the supporting characters are fantastic. Just the little characters like the guy who plays piano, the couple that is just hilarious that you never see them, and every time the guy comes out to just take a break, they're like a newly couple, and you kind of suspect what the hell they're doing, and they always have the windows closed, and every time the guy's taking a break, his wife is like, honey, it's fucking hilarious, man. And I just love the experience with the crowd. It was fantastic. Everybody was just loving it, and I was loving it too, laughing. It's a pretty funny movie too. It's pretty hilarious. It made me chuckle. Everybody was chuckling. It was fantastic. But when it got intense, it got intense. And yeah, the sound design, you literally feel like you're here. You're in this neighborhood. And I love this movie. I think Rear Window is a fantastic film. It's legendary in every way. Of course, I can't really give it that rating because, again, it's just a first-time watch. But it literally fits all the boxes of a movie that's a legendary. And for me, a second time, first time watching a Hitchcock movie in theaters. And just the experience was really amazing. Everybody, the crowd was really digging it. And I loved it. I thought it was amazing. And for that, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's an amazing film. It absolutely fits all the boxes for a legendary movie. It's just, I need to see this movie multiple times. I'm definitely going to see this multiple times. Especially with my aunt. My aunt loves these kind of movies, these old films. I love them too. They're always fantastic. And if I'm going to give it a letter, I'm going to give it the letter M for murder. Because somebody got murdered. And it's kind of interesting how you kind of, I don't know, maybe I was kind of like, oh, maybe he did it, maybe he did not. But it's kind of like you're seeing all the details, and you're just there. You're like, it doesn't give you the answers sometimes. You actually gotta like sit there and watch the movie and actually come up with your conclusions. And it's fantastic. I think this movie's it fits all the boxes, and it's definitely test the times, and it's definitely a movie that anybody could see at any time. It's amazing. So those are my thoughts for Rear Window.